We're moving quick here in this GR Corolla. I gotta say, I'm having a really good time driving this car. Welcome to Car and Driver. That's the Toyota GR Corolla. Toyota's lineup right now has a lot of really fun to drive cars in it. But this is the first one in recent history that Toyota's actually developed and built itself. The GR86 is done in partnership with Subaru, the GR Supra done in partnership with BMW. So you have to wonder if the GR Corolla, Toyota's first recent in-house sports car for the US specifically at least, was gonna be up to snuff. And I can safely say it is.
This isn't the first hot hatch Toyota's made recently. That would be the GR Yaris, an exciting little thing that was built to link the brand's return to rally racing, but sadly, it was not to be sold in the US. No, Toyota had different plans for what we'd get. The GR Corolla is a little larger and more powerful, but it otherwise shares similar fundamentals to the GR Yaris. A turbocharged 3-cylinder engine, a 6-speed manual transmission, and an all-wheel drive system with driver-adjustable power split. You can even get it with front and rear limited slip differentials. The one we're testing is the mid-grade circuit trim, which starts at around $44,000. The base core model is $7,000 cheaper, and the $7,000 more expensive 2-seat Morizo edition gets a bit more torque and Michelin Cup tires. When Toyota developed this engine for the GR Yaris, engineering teams in the United States, Germany, and Japan worked closely together using computer-aided engineering to produce a working prototype in 6 months. That's about half the time of typical development.
This little hot hatchback, this little all-wheel drive 300 horsepower hot hatch is hilarious. It is so much fun to drive around that you can't help but throw it around and just get a smile on your face. And there's so many reasons for that. So let's go down the list.
That 3-cylinder makes 273 pound-feet of torque at 3,000 RPM, and the curve stays flat up to 5,500 RPM.
This engine, this 3-cylinder, 300 horsepower, turbocharged 1.6 liter is really, really enjoyable. It's relying on a lot of turbocharged power to make stuff happen, so it can feel somewhat boosty, but once you're underway, it's delightful to drive. And it doesn't sound like a 3-cylinder. If you didn't know, you might assume it was a 4-cylinder.
If you're hoping for the wild 3-cylinder wail of a Yamaha motorcycle or snowmobile, you'll be disappointed. Despite the presence of a 2-stage intake and exhaust and the occasional blow-off valve whoosh, the engine sounds like a totally normal 4-cylinder. A balanced shaft cancels out the inherent imbalance of the triple, and the passenger side powertrain mount is liquid-filled to further quell shakes.
It's got a really enjoyable power delivery. It doesn't feel like it runs out of steam too quick. It's very nice in and of itself. And then the way you interact with the engine, the clutch pedal, the shifter are also really nicely done too. Shifter's not as nice as what you get in Honda Civic Type R, of course, but few shifters are that good.
In our testing, we recorded a 60-mile-an-hour time of 4.9 seconds and the quarter mile in 13.3 seconds at 105 miles an hour. But because you can't reach 60 in second gear, that 60-mile-an-hour result doesn't accurately convey the GR's quickness. Consider the new Civic Type R, which does 60 in second. It's slower off the line due to its front-wheel drive launch, but it tied the GR's 4.9 second 60-mile-an-hour result. Overall, this is more of a quirk of the 60-mile-an-hour metric and how automakers can game it by ensuring that their cars reach that speed by second gear. Eliminate a shift and the GR would run quicker than the manual Volkswagen Golf R, which is the manual hot hatch acceleration leader. In fact, the GR ties the Golf R at the quarter mile. On our skid pad, the Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires generated 0.94 G, and while there was a healthy dollop of understeer, the GR feels stickier and more neutral on the road.
Now, a lot of the tire squealing that you're hearing is a factor of the surface that we're on. Grattan Raceway has a lot of sealant that makes the tires sound like they're getting abused. So pardon the squeal. This thing is so much fun. The engagement you get from this car, somebody's clearly paid a lot of attention to. The brake pedal in particular feels very, very nice. It's not something I often talk about, but the brake pedal in this car is really easy to modulate. As we go over that big hump there, it's really easy to know exactly how much brake force you're going to deliver into this thing.
Other manufacturers should benchmark this brake pedal. It's resolute underfoot and responds perfectly to small changes in pressure. We measured a 167-foot stop from 70 miles an hour, and while that's not great for this segment, at least it was without fade.
But you also have really nice steering. This wheel is not overly light, has a good amount of feedback coming back to the driver, and that makes this car really easy to position and control. I feel like I can put this car pretty much wherever I want it, and if I get any understeer, it's my fault for having gone into the corner too quickly. So all that's nice from a driving perspective, from the inputs that I get as the driver. That's terrific. But then the GR Corolla goes another level and lets you adjust the amount of power split going front to rear. It keys up in like 30% front, 60% rear. You can set it to a more rearward handling bias, 30% front, I believe, 40% rear, 60% rear, however the math works out. Or you can set it in track mode, which locks it at 50-50, which is the mode we're driving in now. It's really nice way to feel like you can adjust the power split and get a little bit more engagement to match what you perceive your driving style to be, what you would like to happen. And it's a really fun little trick that most cars don't offer. And there's a lot of trick technology underneath that allows the GR Corolla to do that. But for me, what I like about it is I don't have to think about it when I'm driving. This is just, so many of the fundamentals are done well here that you can so many of the fundamentals are just right here that you can enjoy driving this pretty much without thinking about much else. Even got a little bit of rotation there that feels good and easy to control. This is a car that's also doesn't feel like it's going to bite you. A amateur could drive this quickly and enjoy it. A pro could find a lot to enjoy by throwing this thing around. This is a good time.
Sure, it's fun on a racetrack, but its compliance on Michigan's carpet-bombed roads is even better. Its fixed-rate dampers mean no electronic crutches to toggle the suspension from soft to firm, yet jounce is never so abrupt that it violently tosses your head. The spring and bushing selection seems perfectly matched to the reinforced Econocar unibody.
And we're hustling. We're moving quick here in this GR Corolla. I gotta say, I'm having a really good time driving this car. It's 300 horsepower. It doesn't feel like the quickest car in the world. It doesn't have like an immense amount of thrust, but that's not to say it's not gonna be fun from a powertrain response. As you roll on the power, you can feel that front end gripe. You can feel that front end bite. You can feel like, oh, that might be too much power. There's a lot of, I don't want to say linearity in the controls, but that sense of control is ever present in this thing. And I love how it pulls you through some of these corners when you just stand on the gas pedal. Coming to the hill. Whee! That's a good time. Wrong gear. Oh, I could do this till we run out of gas. I love how you can just set this thing up to do whatever you want. And what I get when I drive this car quickly is a lot of confidence in that it's gonna go and do the things that I want it to do. when I set up myself for a corner, I can position this car where I want it to be, at the speed that I want it to be, and plan that out. This is a really enjoyable thing to experience. I should also call out that we have automatic rev matching. You can turn it off with a button on the dash, but I typically leave it on unless I feel like I can do a better job. And it's been working flawlessly here. So overall, what's really nice about this is it is an incredibly fun hot hatch, in the truest sense of the word hot hatch. It's ridiculous and rowdy and a lot of fun, but it's also a car you could live with every day. And that is like the hot hatch goal, is something that would be this fun to drive full out, and then something you could also take to the grocery store. And this nails that job. This absolutely nails that. And I quite like it.
The biggest disappointment we can think of with the GR Corolla is the difficulty prospective owners will have with actually buying these cars at reasonable prices. Toyota plans to build just 6,600 GRs for the US market in the first year. You may not be able to get one then, but you will be able to get one eventually. Trust us, it'll be worth the wait.